What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with the second round of the FCS playoffs here on NCAA 06, one of the greatest college football games ever to be created. We saw first round action here in the first episode, which got the field down from 24 teams down to 16, and now we're going to cut that thing down in half once more, as at the end of this episode we're going to get it down to 8 teams. So it's going to be a good episode, 8 playoff games on tap. I hope you guys are excited for it. If you are, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have to be brand new to the channel as well, as we will get things underway with the number 16 Idaho Vandals taking on the number 1 seed in the FCS tournament. But they're not looking like a 1 seed right now as they turn the football over early. Idaho cannot capitalize off of the errant turnover on the special teams, as the number 1 team in the nation, San Diego State, they bring their offense back on the field, and it's a huge throw down the right hand side, breaks the tackle, and is going to work his way into the end zone. Touchdown Aztecs in an early 10-0 lead against the Vandals of Idaho. And should have been, able to at least make a tackle there, but couldn't make a play. So now the Vandals down by 10 early as their offense back on the field trying to respond here. We might see that happen on this drive as we see the Idaho Vandals get themselves on the board for the very first time today, as just using that athleticism to get to the outside and make some people miss. So down to a field goal game, as Adam Mosley gonna drop back in the pocket. He's got some time to work with, could make himself a sandwich as he throws across his body there, and that is going to also result in a touchdown pass as well, as Mosley just does a fantastic job of working himself to the outside there. And now we'll see if Furman Haynes can respond. Gonna try to throw it down to the right hand sideline, but I thought he expected maybe a receiver to be there, because he threw it to a particular spot and there was just nobody there, to be honest. It's an easy interception for that defensive back, and there wasn't even any pressure on Furman Haynes as well. I don't know what happened there necessarily, but either way, it sets up the Aztecs beautifully as they get a red zone opportunity there. They cash that in and turn that into a field goal. So now a 20-7 lead here for the Aztecs, as Idaho, they got to go ahead and punt this football away once more. It's a high-flying punt, but able to get it in the hands, some space to work on the outside, gets to the 40, the 30, that man is gonna be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown Aztecs. So San Diego State 27-7 there, as we will see 1st and 10 once more. We jump into the second half as Adam Mosley got some time again. He's gonna launch this thing downfield, finds his receiver, who's able to really utilize his body to turn that into yet another touchdown reception. And the Aztecs really starting to pull away here, 34-7 in this one, as Furman Haynes looking for some offense, but that's not going to cut it though, as Furman Haynes is going to throw his second turnover of the game. And already a borderline blowout going on, and you hate to see it. So now jumping into the 4th quarter, we need to see a desperate comeback. We'll see if they got one last charge in them in what could be the final quarter of the season for the Idaho Vandals. They got a touchdown there to cut it back down to 20 points, but Mosley's going to roll out to his right here. He's got multiple options in the back of the end zone and just throws it to a spot. Easy touchdown, as no one was covered in the back of the end zone there. It's now 41-14 in favor of San Diego State, as Haynes will hand it off to the tailback, who will plow his way into the end zone there, and that will at least get it down to 20 points, make the scoreboard look a little bit better. But unless we see a miracle here, it looks like the number 1 seed is going to move on to the quarterfinals, the first team to do that in the FCS playoffs, but not going down without a fight as we see a huge play downfield for this receiving core that does put Idaho's offensive production over 300 yards for the day, but a fumble on the goal line is going to cost a chance to maybe tack on a few more points before the end of this game. Not that it would change the final result, though, as San Diego State takes care of business against the 16-seeded Idaho Vandals, winning by a final score of 41-21 there, as this victory will indeed get them into the quarterfinals, and they will wait to see who they will play against in the next episode, as they will play the winner of the Rice Owls at number 9 and the Montana Grizzlies, who says the number 8 seed. So we'll go ahead and see now which of these two teams will get the opportunity to play the number 1 seed in the next episode. Like I said, we got Rice and we got Montana down here at neutral site Emerald Bowl, as we got a goodie on tap here. Montana, you know, the only quote-unquote real FCS team to earn a spot into the second round automatically through a bye week. And a guy to watch here, Jarrett Neal, who doesn't have a ton of yards, still working on getting to 1,000 yards on the season, but 15 touchdowns, though, that is certainly up there. And so is starting quarterback. It looks like Derek Neal is back for the Grizzlies. For much of the season, the backup quarterback was playing for Montana, and yet despite, you know, not really having their starting QB for much of the season, they got this opportunity to go to the second round automatically. But now that they got their starting quarterback back in the starting lineup, now we're talking about a team that, hey, maybe could be peaking at the right time. And a good start here early. His first drive of the game, Derek Neal connecting on a bomb down the right-hand side, as it will be a 7-0 lead, as Neal is going to fire this one over the right-hand side as well. He's loving that side of the field early, as Derek Keefe closing in on what, and that's the thing. You can tell that he hasn't played that much because he's the starting quarterback. He doesn't even have 1,000 yards passing yet, but he's certainly getting close, as Keefe rolling to the left-hand side. He's going to find a man downfield. And what a toe-touch and grab for this receiver. You want to talk about the 10 toes down movement being alive and well. We're certainly witnessing that here in Montana, off to a phenomenal start. 14-0 lead for the Grizzlies. But what if I told you that this could be 21-0 as we got a foot race down the sideline? No one left to beat him, as mama, there goes that man. 21-0 in favor of Montana. As now Keefe is actually going to hand it off to the tailback. This is not Jarrett Neal, but still is a touchdown at the end of the day, as we're not even at the halftime yet. Montana really taking it to Rice here early. It is 28-0 right now. This is certainly a surprise for sure, as I don't know, it just seems like these option teams have not been performing very well in the playoffs. I don't know, it's just because they're going up against better competition, or what's really going on there, but just something that I've been noticing. Not as bad as North Dakota State. At least Rice has won a playoff game. Granted, it was against an Ivy League team, so do what you want with that. But Montana is still going to work, as Will Fisher now eclipses 100 yards receiving on the day. He's having a huge performance in this one. As we get into the fourth quarter now, still a 21-point lead for the Grizzlies, as Keefe throws over to the middle. He's going to find his receiver, Derek Fisher, again. 5th catch of the day, and that'll get him into the red zone, where Montana is 2 for 2 on red zone opportunities today. Keefe, no, it's a direct snap to Jarrett Neal, who's going to run it into the end zone. Touchdown, Montana. and just continuing to build what is an impressive lead for this football team. And the question is now, when will we see the backups? And sure enough, there's the backups, man. Backup quarterback who we've seen for a good chunk of the season, has some good playing experience. And even though it is the fourth quarter, you know, Rice still has its starters out there. I mean, they've got their impact guy for sure. You know, we're still talking about a guy that has plenty of playing experience and is coming in handy now, so that if the starter, Derek Keefe, does get hurt again, they won't be missing too much of a beat when this is the most important part of the season. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's obvious to you guys, but I'm just saying, man, as Montana actually going to go for it here on 4th down, and they are not going to get it. They're going to turn the football over after Garrett Fagan is going to notch his 7th sack of the season. He has been a menace to opposing quarterbacks this year. As now Rice is going to try to get himself on track here. As how about Miss Jackson, though? I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, but there goes a bad man running the option. Now that's a little bit of trickery that you love to see, and it sets up a red zone opportunity for the Owls. But time is of the essence. Less than 2 minutes left to play in the game. Looking over the middle, going to be a pass play. Haven't seen many of those for Rice, and it works well. Able to get enough time in the pocket as Ricky Johnson cuts it down to a free score game. But after Rice did attempt the onside kick, they actually failed. So Montana, they're just going to go ahead and try to run what little of the clock that there is left. They're going to try to run it down, or maybe they'll even get that 40 burger. I mean, yeah, they're trying to run the clock here. You know, that's why they're trying to run this football. But we're talking about a guy that, you know, is able to go forth and, you know, get a ton of yards there. So look at the fullback, by the way. I mean, no one accounting for that fullback there. And that's going to be probably one of the easier touchdowns that we are going to see in this playoffs from the running game, as Montana will seal the deal. They finish strong with a touchdown late in the fourth quarter, and they are actually going to blow out Rice here, winning by a final score of 45-17, which does end up meaning that the first quarterfinal matchup that we'll see in the next episode is going to pit this Montana squad up against San Diego State, the number 1 seed. Congratulations to Montana, though. They get their 10th win of the season. So we march through the rest of the FCS playoffs as we check in on one of the potential Cinderellas in Kent State. Now, last episode, Kent State pulling probably one of the more shocking upsets in the playoffs so far. They beat North Dakota State, and not only beating them, they dominated North Dakota State. Absolutely insane stuff. So therefore, what we're going to get here is a little bit of a rematch here. The Battle of the Wagon Wheel, which pits them up against same team, or in the same conference, rivalry game. And here we go. Akron, number 4 seed. Maybe a little bit vulnerable here. You know, this is a team that, you know, Kent State knows very well. So we'll see if that plays to their advantage a little bit as they throw downfield, looking for some early points, and they're going to get it here. Touchdown, Golden Flashes. And not even a couple of minutes into the game, and we see first blood being drawn, and it goes in favor of the Golden Flashes as they look to build a big early lead here. Another deep drive for Kent State as Tyro Williams going to throw another ball into the end zone, and that's going to count for a touchdown as well. 14-0 lead here, and just a clean pocket until the very last second. You know, my man did get hit as he's throws that football, but now Akron in some deep trouble a little bit early, as not only are they down 14-0, but they also proceed to turn the football over. One of the last things that you can afford to do. You're down by 2 possessions in the playoffs. You're trying to work yourself back after a slow start, And that's what you decide to do? That's crazy. As now, 11-point game here, looking for yet another touchdown. And this man, Williams, is just feeling himself in the pocket. That's his third passing touchdown of the day. It sets up a 21-3 lead in favor of the Golden Flashes. Now, Akron will eventually find the end zone there as well. Matter of fact, not only do they end up getting a touchdown, but they will also go ahead and get this to a 2-point conversion, which they're successful with. But it is as close as they're going to get, as a late safety in the last couple of minutes of the game ends up sealing the deal. And Kent State, the number 20 seed in this tournament, not only do they defy expectations by making it out in the first round, but they also win in the second round and are the lowest seed so far to punch their tickets into the quarterfinals. Kent State with a Cinderella ride. We'll see who they play up against. So speaking of those Cinderellas, we also saw SMU, who's the 21 seed, able to pull the upset off against Delaware. And now we'll see them play up against UNLV, who, had a little bit of a bye week. They are currently the number 5 seed here in this tournament. As now we'll see them go to work, as both teams now are going to go ahead and take the field, as both teams looking for that quarterfinal slot. And watch out for Nate Moses, tailback for the Rebels. Only 1,000 yards rushing so far, but 18 touchdowns on the year thus far. And not only do they have a star at running back, but they got a great defense as well. Top 10 in yards allowed per game, as we see them live in action right there. An early turnover is going to set up the first possession for UNLV so beautifully. They start off inside the 30-yard line, as we'll see this tailback, this star running back, go to work and finds the end zone. Touchdown, Rebels. And Nate Moses, no, that's actually Marique Jackson. Wow, got a little bit bamboozled there, but UNLV, they still will take the early lead there, as it's now 7-3 in favor of the Rebels. And not only are they making plays happen on the offensive side of the ball, but also on that defensive side, as Todd Graham, if I read that correctly, that's Graham's first interception of the year. What a heck of a time to get that done, to go ahead and get your first interception of the year, but they can't capitalize off the turnover. Still a 4-point game, and now UNLV is going to take the lead as well. They're going to pull ahead here with less than a minute left to play in this first half, as we see this quarterback with plenty of time to work with. And so that is how the score will remain. Now we jump into the second half. UNLV, they did defer when this game originally started, so a chance for them to, get back on track, except they fumble the football again. And this time, SMU is going to recover, as they get a field goal out of that. As Dante Rogers, 30 touchdowns on the year. He's looking for number 31, as Rogers looking downfield, but he gets hit, and he forgot about the football on the way down, because UNLV, they are celebrating on that sideline over there now. And now a chance for the Rebels to retake the lead. We got 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Dropping back, Hall looking downfield. He's got a man, but that's intercepted. Going to Drake's song, because we're going back to back turnovers there. And SMU is going to go ahead, and they are actually going to retain the lead. Wow. Absolutely shocking stuff right now, as we will see this running back go to work. Malik Jackson, bad man, strutting his stuff down the sideline. And UNLV will finally retake the lead here. And look at this hole that was created by his offensive line. I mean, I'm not the fastest guy in the world. I'm a 5'0", 40 guy tops, but I could have ran through that hole. Amazing job by the offensive line. As it's still a 1-point lead, but Jackson looking to seal the deal here as he's actually going to dive into the end zone this time around. That's his third rushing touchdown of this ball game. Beautiful job once again to follow the blocks. And those 3 touchdowns, they just might be the difference unless SMU can say something about it. They still have a chance to win this game, but no more mistakes though. And on 4th down, the football gets turned over. And it looks like UNLV is going to be able to down this after Morris gets the game-winning interception. And another competitive matchup, but UNLV takes care of its business. They will move on to the quarterfinal to take on one of the Cinderellas in Kent State, the number 20 seed. That was a tough one. SMU, they certainly had their chances to come out there and win this football game, or at least force it into overtime, but it just was not meant to be. And for the Mustangs, their season is going to be over. Now, how about this for an intriguing matchup here in the second round? We actually have another rematch, non-conference, from the regular season. We got James Madison, who is coming off a huge blowout victory against McNeese State in the previous episode, taking on the number 2 overall seed, the Temple Owls, who, of course, were on bye because they are a top 8 seed, of course. And this is going to be interesting to see how this turns out. I mean, in the regular season, we saw James Madison go on the road against Temple, and they've been bamboozled. They have been fooled. They were struggling in that game. Temple blew them out. But now we'll see if Kenny Raymer and company, they can get some revenge, and doing it in a game that matters the most is Maurice Gray. In a lot of traffic, 3-4 bodies around him. He is the guy that comes down with the catch. I don't know why he's looking so sad. He just made an absolutely incredible play that will put up the Dukes in the red, or at least not in the red zone, but deep in Temple territory. And now Raymer dropping back the pass, but unfortunately it gets intercepted by Carlos Parker, who dives for the football and is able to get his hands on it. So golden opportunity for James Madison to take the early lead, and sadly it will not be happening though. But Joe Tupea is going to be picked off as well. Just the 4th interception that this guy has thrown all season long so far. And that right there, oh baby, you love to see the intensity that James Madison's playing with early. They remember that blowout, and they're certainly playing like it early as Louis Ferguson going to work. Turned into a foot race though. It's a huge gain down the sideline. Louis Ferguson still giving fits as he's averaging 13 yards a carry early. And it sets Temple up in Duke's field position for the first time today. As Tupea, he's going to roll to his right. He's going to look downfield and finds a receiver. As for the first time in this one, we'll have a red zone opportunity in just a one-on-one matchup. DB could not get the outside leverage. And now a chance for Temple to get the first points on the board. 3rd and 7 from the 15-yard line. Ferguson, he's feeling himself, but staying back to block. Joe Tupea trying to find a receiver downfield as Jesus Moses is going to get sack number 6 on the year. And the Owls will be forced to settle for a field goal. It's going to be a 3-0 lead here as Joe Tupea continues to work his stuff. He's now over 2,500 yards on the year from a passing standpoint, as it sets up another chance for points for the Owls. Ferguson looking downfield, got some space to work, and it's another huge run for the tailback who was in the running for the Heisman Trophy. Again, we'll check at the end of the season for awards and all that good stuff, but for now, a chance to get the first touchdown of the game, and it goes into the hands of Willie Ferguson, and the Owls will extend their lead and was turned into a little bit more of a defensive battle than what was originally anticipated. It's a 10-0 lead, though, as now Raymer's got his work cut out for him. He gets hits as he's thrown, though, but yet his receiver makes a play for him, and he's going to strut his stuff all the way into the end zone. Raymer did not have time to get that off. I was amazed that he got as much as he did on that football. I figure that would be an incompletion, something along those lines. But that is absolutely huge, though, because James Madison, not only did they get the touchdown to cut it to a field goal, but also they get the ball to start the second half here, and look what they do with it. Huge special teams play when it matters the most. And for the very first time today, the Dukes of James Madison are going to take the lead, make it 14-10 here. And we will see them enjoy a lead for the very first time today, as Raymer will get to go to work and try to extend on that a little bit more. But Carlos Parker has other ideas, getting his second sack of the day. He was also same defensive lineman, by the way, that caught that interception. Man is just doing a little bit of everything right now. As Raymer dropping back the pass again, 2nd and 14, as that will get the Dukes of James Madison into some field goal range there. Nice job by Calhoun to find the soft spot in the zone. And now 20-10 lead as Raymer drops back. He's trying to extend the lead further, but instead he turns the football over for the second time today. Starting to look a little bit like the second half that James Madison had in the regular season, a little bit with the turnovers and whatnot. Raymer's got to calm that down a little bit, but he's not going to lose confidence in himself as he goes double team to the screw it. Tyreek Hill out there somewhere, kind of throw, and by the good grace of Jesus or something, that's a touchdown, and it's 27-10. So the Dukes here really got a chance to move on to the next round. 17-point lead. You know, only a few minutes left to play here in this ball game, but Temple, they're going to start the comeback train, and that locomotive is going in full send. Next play, gonna be a touchdown for the special teams. That hope cuts it down to 2 possessions. James Madison, they cannot run out the clock completely. So another possession for Temple as Joe Tapia attacks deep downfield, able to not only find his man, but his man is able to evade the defense as well. And that, all of a sudden, 1 possession game, especially after that extra point was made. So now we'll see an onside kick being attempted. Let's see if they can get 1 extra possession on board, but it looks like James Madison, though, is going to recover the football. That is actually Maurice Gray there on the hands team there. So, hypothetically, they should be able to run the rest of his clock out. Only 1 timeout left to work with, except the ball is fumbled, and Temple's going to get 1 more possession, 1 last chance to win this game. Tapia actually going to hand it off, though. That's a fumble, and James Madison is going to recover. So a golden opportunity by Temple to come back 17 down in order to win the football game. And with a chance to win the game in the final seconds, we got a fumble. And that is how Temple's season is going to end. Despite being that number 2 seed, that does not help them in terms of the fact that their season is going to be over. And James Madison moving on to the quarterfinals. Statement win for their program, as they get the beautiful opportunity. They got to go ahead and get some revenge on one of the 2 losses that they suffer in the regular season. Nothing like a beautiful story. So another Cinderella that we witnessed that pulled a pretty incredible upset in their own right was Tennessee Tech. And after a shocking victory against New Hampshire in the first round, they get a date with Utah State here in the second round of this FCS playoff tournament. But Utah State, built a little bit different, man. We saw Utah State win the WAC conference. They beat New Mexico State pretty convincingly, matter of fact, as we'll go ahead and see if Tennessee State still has a little bit of magic, as they got to find a way to contain Eddie Murphy, who is, coming with 25 touchdowns. Pretty good quarterback. So it's going to have to be a team effort. They're going to win this game, as Donovan Hampton's going to drop back the pass himself. But not only does he throw an interception, but he's also get picked off, and it's going to be a pick 6 for Chris Logan, which is his first interception of the entire season. It comes today. Wow. How about that to get things going here early? Is now 7-0 lead for the Aggies early, and if they keep playing like this, I don't think that there's any magic in this Golden Eagle squad, man. 2 quick touchdowns to get this thing going. We're not even halfway through the first quarter yet, and it's already a 14-0 lead for the favored and higher ranked team. But still plenty of football left to play, though, so we'll see if Donovan Hampton and company can get themselves together a little bit. But that being said, 3 and out in the next possession, and their defense is just continuing to be exposed right now, as that leads to yet another touchdown there. That now makes it 21-0, as Huge Hole breaks a couple of tackles too, one of which definitely got stiff arm into the next dimension, and a 21-0 lead here, as we finally see this Tennessee Tech offense have something positive happen. Seeing Donovan Hampton get a little bit more warmed up, maybe it'll lead to some points going on the board for them, or he's gonna get fumbled, and hang on, are we gonna see a big guy touchdown right now? No! Running back gets him from behind. Pretty sure that's Vince Fortinat that made the tackle, but Patrick Huff, he was huffing and puffing his way. I thought we were gonna see a big man touchdown. Didn't happen, but incredible job pouncing on. He had the sack, and then, he also came up there as well and, made some good work in blocking, as it continues to be an extremely rough day. It's bad when you already got 3 turnovers in the ball game, and you're not even out of the second. You just started the second quarter, matter of fact. As the Aggies look to capitalize off of yet another turnover, Murphy gonna attack downfield and has a man. Touchdown, Utah State. And it's already going to be 31-0. Oh no. Is there any mercy? Can Donovan Hampton get his guys back on track, get him on the board? This will help him out a little bit as he finds his star receiver. So at the very least, Tennessee Tech will not at least be shut out. They will remove their goose egg off the board, but they're going to have to put in a real Herculean effort here if they want to go ahead and make this a more competitive game. We'll see if they can do that, starting with getting a stop on defense, but it's not meant to be today. Or at least I don't think so. We're talking 38-7 already. Yet another touchdown for Murphy, as it just keeps getting worse. Donovan Hampton in the shotgun. He had some time to throw the football, but not really sure where he was trying to get it to, unfortunately, as that's going to set up just easy pick 6 for Sean Greenwood, who also gets his first interception of the day. And it looks like he was going for that out route, but that was, read really easily. Is now 45-7, and another turnover to go with it. Stop me if you heard this before. Donovan Hampton just did not have the same magic that he had in that first round matchup to help pull the upset against New Hampshire. It wasn't there, as Utah State, they're at a point now where the lead is so big, they're going to start, getting some, some trick plays in, open up this playbook a little bit, because who knows, they might need it a little bit later on in this playoffs. They will probably, unless there's a monumental comeback, Utah State going to be slated to play against James Madison and, Kenny Raymer. They're more than capable of putting points on the board. We've seen that, against both McNeese State and Temple, but Utah State will advance to the quarterfinals, though. As this takes us to another chalk matchup that we have, Eastern Michigan, who's the 14th seed, taking on the third-ranked Eastern Carolina Pirates, undefeated on the year, one of, I believe, 3 undefeated teams in this FCS Dynasty here in year number 1, so rewarded with a very high seed. They will go up against an Eastern Michigan squad that will take on a team that, Eastern Michigan, they're coming in hot right now. They beat New Mexico State pretty convincingly, actually. They won 41-17 in the previous episode, and we got a great one at running back. Brian Haston versus Bobby Brown of Eastern Michigan. 2 teams that are fighting for that Player of the Year award. So, huge matchup, for those implications from an individual standpoint. And then, of course, we already know what's at stake, a slot into the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs, as the Eagles take an early lead. Going to be up 7-0 early. But if I'm showing special teams, y'all already know is going to be... Hang on, we got a muff kick return here. Haston breaks a couple of tackles. Houdini, is that you? Oh my goodness. That's why he is a Player of the Year candidate right there, ladies and gentlemen. We just saw greatness unfold right before our eyes. That is how Eastern Carolina gets on the board first. It's all knotted up at 7 apiece. As later on in the game, Ricky McFadden's got his guys into the red zone, but they will not be going away with any points, unfortunately, as an interception in the red zone is going to keep this game all knotted up. And it's now a 10-7 ball game. Timmy Rollins rolling to his right. He's going to throw this thing deep. He's got a man, and it's going to be cut. Touchdown, Eagles. And a 17-7 lead here early, as the Eagles, not intimidated by this higher seeded squad, they came to play here today. As now 17-7, we all know this. McFadden, we're gonna get into a 1-possession game, looking towards the end zone, and that will also be caught. So that does cut the lead down to just a field goal, as we're down to the final minute here of this first half. Still a very tight and very contested game, and Haston gets the ball in his hands, but he fumbles it. He fumbles the football. It sets up an Eastern Michigan field goal, and it's a 6-point lead going into half. However, Eagles got the ball to start the second half, and Timmy Rollins starting just as well. So we got 10 unanswered points here ever since Eastern Carolina got that touchdown from Ricky McFadden. And it's going to be a 2-score game here after a nice job by the receiver to create some yards after the catch. Is now 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Haston, he's going to take it to the outside. He's got some space to scoot, and that man is going to be gone. Mama, there goes that man. Touchdown, Pirates. And it's now back to just being a 1-possession game. And you just lost that outside contain, man. That's really what it boils down to. You can't let a running back as good as him get into open space. You just cannot allow it. He can make some things happen, even if there's not a lot of space to work with, period. But especially in open space. That's barbecue chicken right there. But offense is still rolling for the Eagles, though, as yet another touchdown is going to be notched onto the board. So Pirates are, being kept at a distance. That's a good thing, too, because Haston is really, he's trying to put the team on his back. You can tell, as that's now touchdown number 3 on the day for Brian Haston. I mean, look at this space. I mean, direct snap this time around. You cannot let him go to the outside. How many times I gotta say this? It shouldn't be that hard of a concept. And yet it seems like it's rocket science at times. As we get an interception, this could get the Pirates the lead, and it does. Now we got a lead that was erased. And now the Pirates are on top 35-34 after the extra point was successfully made. So down to the last couple of minutes here of this third quarter as McFadden, we're going to build off the newfound lead, trying to throw it over the middle of the field, but that is going to be intercepted. And then one of the offensive linemen, Garrett Bryant, looks to be a little bit shaken up. Hopefully it's not too serious of an injury. Offensive line, definitely one of the most important units on the offense. If you can't protect long enough, it's hard for your, really anyone on the offense, any of your skill guys, to really shine and to really show out. So we'll hope and pray that he is going to be okay. But in the meantime, we will see an interception. So Pirates will retain the lead, but Eastern Michigan with a chance to seal the game here. Minute 10 left to play, and it's gonna be Bobby Brown, end zone, touchdown Eagles, and that might make it over. As Eastern Carolina, it becomes a 2-possession game, and even though they will get a touchdown on literally the last play of the game, it doesn't even matter though. It doesn't matter, because even if they go for the 2-point conversion, that still will not be enough to get the win. So they get the extra point, and that does end the game after that. I'm surprised they even bothered with the extra point, to be honest. But Eastern Michigan, man, they are going to pull the upset. They're going to pull it off against Eastern Carolina, 44-42 being the final score. Don't even need overtime as well, and it does make this the most explosive playoff game that we've seen so far. Slightly more than Tennessee Tech and New Hampshire in the last episode, and that even required overtime. So who will Eastern Michigan play in the quarterfinals? It comes down to Georgia Southern, who's coming off a big win in the first round against the Southern Jaguars, and the team that had the bye in the previous episode, North Texas, the number 6 seed here in this FCS tournament, as both teams now getting ready to take the field. Should be a very intriguing matchup, as it's going to be based on if Ivan Jenkins can get himself going. Talking about a guy, 1,100 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns on the ground. If Georgia Southern can contain this guy, I think they got a chance to get the win. And speaking of Jenkins, he's going to take the carry early and find his way into the end zone. A touchdown for the Mean Green, as that is the first major highlight of this game. Nothing much really happening in the first quarter. Definitely a grit and grind kind of game, it seems like, as we'll see this quarterback go to work trying to get downfield. And wow, you want to talk about double coverage here. That should have been intercepted, or at least it should have been, falling harmlessly to the ground. But Brad Neely, hey man, sometimes it's better to be lucky than it is to be good. And another goal line opportunity for the Mean Green, as Neely finds himself up under center, gets it up to Ivan Jenkins. And while Jenkins hasn't had the big run yet, he does have a pair of touchdowns already, as North Texas is going to build a 17-0 lead here. Georgia Southern will tack on a field goal before halftime, but again, North Texas, they get the ball to start the second half. So these next couple of drives are going to really determine how the rest of the game plays out. And hang on, them boys might be back into it, as we got a big time turnover, the first one of this ball game right here. And if Georgia Southern can get a touchdown, then they're right back into the game. Can they convert on 3rd and long, though? And unfortunately not, as Ikeda Woods just didn't really have the time to go about reading the defense there. And now 17-6, as when this guy gets enough time to throw, he can make good decisions. He's not the typical option quarterback. He's capable of making good throws as well. He is truly a complete quarterback, but at some point, you also need your guys to step up and, pick up some protections. He needs time to throw. Is now 3rd and 20 from the 21-yard line, and Ikeda Woods is going to take yet another sack, and kicker comes out and tries a longer field goal, and that actually is going to be missed. So it remains 17-6, and maybe the outcome of the play is, let's say they got the field goal, it would have been 17-9. That would have made it a 1-possession game. And now time really becoming the essence. You're down 2 scores. You need to get something. You would prefer a touchdown, but at least a field goal, as we see. Yet another sack. Sean Weiser, 4th sack of the season. And Ikeda Woods just rolled right into him. And after a failed 4th down, North Texas, a chance to run out the rest of his clock. And I don't think they have to worry about time anymore if you're North Texas, as Ivan Jenkins is going to find his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Mean Green. Listen, it was a admirable effort on defense. This was a defense that got lit up by the likes of Georgia Southern as well as Northwestern State, right? And, they're only giving up 24 points. That, it at least keeps you in it in many of these games, but offensively, they cannot find the end zone today, and that's ultimately looks like going to be the difference in this one. One team got into the end zone when they made it in to the red zone, and the other team had to settle for field goals or not even get any points whatsoever when they had red zone opportunities. So Georgia Southern, thanks for playing, but they will be eliminated by the North Texas Mean Green, who will also be punching their ticket into the not the second round, but the quarterfinals here. Is now North Texas. They will get the pleasure of playing up against the Eastern Michigan Eagles in the quarterfinals. Not the best day for the offense for North Texas, but the defense, they did its work, handling Georgia Southern. They ran the football 40 times in this one, less than 150 yards rushing despite that. And that ultimately was the difference. North Texas going to move on. So what initially was a 24-team field has now been narrowed down to the final 8. The Elite 8 for those that are huge basketball fans. But here we have the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs in year number 1 on deck. And that will be played out in the next episode. Next time out, we will start things off with the number 1 seeded San Diego State Aztecs taking on the Montana Grizzlies, who are coming off a huge win against Rice in the second round to give them this opportunity. After that first game, we will also see the biggest Cinderella in this tournament, the Kent State Golden Flashes, who came in as the number 20 seed, pulling off 2 upsets in a row to now take on the 5-seeded UNLV Rebels, who are currently riding a 6-game winning streak, and they also looked pretty good in their game against SMU in this episode. Following that matchup, we have the 15-seeded James Madison Dukes, who got their revenge against Temple. Now they have to contest themselves against Utah State, the 7th seed in this tournament. And they are arguably the hottest team in football right now on a 10-game winning streak. Can James Madison snap it, or will the winning streak be extended to 11 games? And finally, to wrap up the quarterfinals in the next episode, we will wrap things up with the 14th-seeded Eastern Michigan Eagles, who do take care of business against Eastern Carolina in an absolute shootout. They'll take on North Texas, who had a test against Georgia Southern, and they passed it with flying colors. We'll see if they can continue their success and move on to the semifinals. So guys, we got some intriguing matchups here in the quarterfinals, and I hope you guys are excited for it. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you did, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you guys are all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.